And good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? This is Maddie with Constitutional Corner. And, well, I'm going to wait for a few of you guys to get on because there's something I'm going to talk about tonight. And I'll tell you what, this one's got me steaming, guys. Man, where do I start? So, I was going to show you a clip tonight of what you guys have probably already seen and are probably well aware of, because I know most of you that are going to get on here like to follow the live streams. So tonight what I wanted to talk to you about was a live stream that happened earlier today. The Cajun Auditor. Did anybody catch that live stream today? Anybody catch the live stream at all? Well, hey Oklahoma, hey Central Valley, Dragonfire, hi guys. Okay, so this is indicative of what these police agencies are trying to do. So the Cajun Auditor today went out and he was doing some live field investigations on his channel. He was accosted, eventually assaulted, kidnapped, and held with no charges, no reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, and no hope of winning any kind of case against Cajun Auditor, maliciously violated his oath, not only to the nation, to the Constitution, but also to the state of Louisiana. From my understanding, there was 4 or 5 other officers standing around, failing to intervene on this constitutional violation. This blatant constitutional violation. So, you guys know me. You know I don't play games. Okay? So, I am hereby putting this police office on notice. At some point, I am going to come down there, and I am going to do a civil rights investigation. And I can guarantee you, you will not push me around the way you're pushing around my young friend. I can guarantee you that if you try me like this, I will raise the money, I will have the money, and I will do a lot of the work myself. Cajun Auditor, it was absolutely ridiculous, Mr. Hemming. Absolutely ridiculous. And as soon as I get into my situation and I can afford it, I am going to go down and do some civil rights audits. I figured you did, Mr. Hemming. You're always on top of things, sir. I figured you saw it, but it's absolutely ridiculous. No charges, but the bracelets still go on. Why? You know, what is the reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime? Why did they do this to this young man? Why are they so against being recorded and documented in their official capacity? We have the right to do that. And it's absolutely insane, absolutely ludicrous, the way that they're using and abusing their authority to try and intimidate us and push us. Oh, well, I'm not going to go do a First Amendment audit because I don't want to get handcuffed, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And that does separate some people. But I'm here to tell you guys that it does not separate me, and I will not back down. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I am absolutely appalled at what happened today. So that is my view. Mr. Hemming, if you could weigh in on this, sir, let me pull up my my Facebook. I would really love for you to call in, if you would, sir. I would really love to get your input on this, sir, because you're far more of an expert than me. Let me pull my Facebook up. All right. So yeah, Mr. Hemming, if you could give me a call on Messenger, sir, I would really, really appreciate it. Anyway, moving on. I want to also do a quick shout out to Charlotte from California. I received your mail today. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you, sir. Mr. Hemming, sir. Hold on, it's not working for some reason. There you are, sir. How are ya? Good. It's good to hear from you. So you actually saw this today. I'm just going off of what Cajun told me. Can you tell us what happened and your take on it?
It was a very brief encounter. It lasted a couple of seconds. Brandon had been out there for a minute, and when this one officer comes walking up on him, and there's a brief conversation and the accusation that he had been harassing people who had almost caused a car accident, and there's a short exchange, a couple of words, in which the man was getting handcuffs on him and the camera turned off. And the phone call started being made, and pretty soon he was cut loose.
Wow. Yeah, you're kind of electric-y, they're saying, and I can kind of hear it. You're sounding a little bit like electric, like your voice is like computer generated, like Max Headroom. Remember Max back in the day? That's what it sounded like a little bit. Let me see if I can arrange this a little better and maybe do better sound. Okay, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. You're funny. So Mr. Hemming, the cuffs actually went onto Cajun. What was going through your mind as you were watching this?
Well, no, it's just another situation where it occurs. There's not much to be said about these individuals. They believe they're above the law. They operate outside the law on a regular basis. And, that's really what it boils down to. These people just don't care. And until you make them care.
Right.
Is it still jacked up?
It's sounding a lot better. I can understand you a little bit better. If anybody needs me to explain anything that he says, please let me know. I'll be glad to repeat it. I can understand it on my side. It might be a little weak. Yeah, a lot of people are really upset about this, Mr. Hemming, with what happened today.
Just don't be upset. We'll do something about it.
Exactly. If you get really this frustrated, there's a couple of things you can do. One, pick up a camera. Go out and make a difference. But, it's like... Exactly. It's like what I said a couple of days ago on one of my posts. You know, there's a couple of reasons why we do this. One, we do it because there's people out there that are scared to do it because they're in positions in their jobs or whatever that they could lose their jobs, they could, you know, whatever. But there's a lot of people out there that also donate and help to this cause. And then there are people that go out and do it. And, you know, it's all important to have everybody in this. You don't always have to be.
And a lot of people don't realize this is worldwide. We have resources and contacts that reach out to us, like with the situation in Laurel Bay yesterday and the day before. We have people reaching out and identifying the Scott Crabtree fellow and the Brett fellow, all those other guys that this was going on. And, you know, it's clear that in parts of the world they don't share the same experiences, but they have some of the same limitations.
Right.
We may not have officers routinely killing that many people as we do here in the United States, but they definitely have situations where law enforcement officers are out of control. And then I was trying to explain to this Dark Horse guy last night, talking about this on this after all the dust had settled there in Laurel Bay, and it got a little personal. And I wouldn't have done some of the things that were done, but that's me, not them. They went personal, and I'd have left town. I would have never even worried about anybody doing anything. I was like, what are they going to do? If they, but it is what it is.
Right.
But there was lessons. There were definitely lessons to be learned, and about that. And again, these are Nate is not a new guy to auditing, but he is a new guy to it. And, with working with others. Johnny Fido's been doing it since late October, late August, or late September, and really started getting some attention and have some contacts. But he has his own style. He does what he's going to do. But I would have not gone personal and broadcast the guy's family, his name, or anything like that. But I got a mutual move. They both think they have to do that. These people come to find out that we'll get your phone numbers, we'll get your home addresses, and we're not going to harass you or break the law, but just let them know that you're not by yourself, and you could be touched. You're going to, if you're going to be a bootlegger, then you're going to make sure everybody knows you're a bootlegger.
Yeah. Well, and I'm trying to find it, and I can't remember what it was, but there was an app that I used to use when I was working for the tax attorneys up in Colorado. It cost $20 a month, but basically, if you put in somebody's name and city, you can actually pull up their address, their telephone numbers.
A lot of stuff isn't coming from apps. I would tell you that this stuff comes from within databases, not from people accessing outside. There are not many people that are working in network administration and manage these servers that I'm not paying. I don't think anybody's paying for any service. They just have access to the information. Just like when we had an issue a couple years back where a person was doing a live suicide on Facebook Live. They were tracking the individual down to his location, the people within Facebook, they're turning on his microphone and turning on his camera and turning on all the things that were turned on to find the guy, and we found the guy. Not the law enforcement would do that, or even police would do it, but it was just a group of concerned people that are not only police accountability activists, the civil rights activists, but also they care about each other. And some people suffer with massive depression and think that suicide is the answer to their problems, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
So we could do what we could do to help those. I'm not saying that it hasn't, the situation hasn't manifested over and over again, but you don't know this at first when you're first interacting with the person. All you're being told is, hey, we need your help and your skill to find somebody, and people just jump up and take their business.
Yeah. And what he just said, it's kind of hard. You're still electric-y. These Facebook, sometimes we get a really clear...
I just changed over my laptop, so let me see what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, because you're really electric-y. Whatever is going on, you're really electric-y. It could be on my side. I don't know. Um,
I know what likely's going on.
Anyway, guys, we're here with Mr. Felipe Hemming from the Hemming Law Firm, and right now he's kind of working on his audio side to see if maybe we can get that worked out. But while we're here, guys, do you have any questions so far? And that Morro Bay was another one too. I mean, geez, that is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I don't really do the whole that's between adults. I really don't get involved in the drama on my channels, guys. So, you know, if they have a problem with each other, I'm sure that they'll work it out. They're all adults. We're all adults in this, and you know, there's been times when, you know, people have argued and they get back together later. Don't look too much into it. So, I think Mr. Hemming is fixing his mic problem. All right, Mr. Hemming. Mr. Hemming. Do we have Mr. Hemming yet? We are a team, guys. We're a family, we're a team, and we do need to stick together. And when you see the dissension, you know, make sure that people know that it's inappropriate and to keep it behind the scenes. Mr. Hemming, can you hear me, sir? Let me try this. Hello? Mr. Hemming? Sir? Let me see if I can call Mr. Hemming.
Hello?
Mr. Hemming.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now, and it's a really good connection.
Alright, I got all the bugs worked out. Super.
Nice. I knew you could do it. So, so with you started to talk about the Morro Bay.
Yeah, and honestly, people, but I heard you guys commenting about whoever's videos. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and understand there are valid points that were made. Now, how some people go about sharing their opinion, it's their way. And they can do what they want to do. I'm not going to go in to judge somebody or even give somebody's opinion about somebody else's opinion. It's silly.
Right.
But when it comes to the points made, valid points were made. Could things have been done differently from the get-go? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would have not initiated a call flood to Morro Bay immediately. I would have gotten the chief of police on record by introducing myself as Felipe Hemming, a journalist of Black Coat Media, and like to get your opinion of what happened prior to even the release of the video. But instead, the city responded by issuing a press release. And once they issued the press release, it already showed us what their point of view was. They went with a lie. And if you read the press release and then watch Nate's video, you'll see the one is the truth and the other is a work of fiction. And there's all kinds of weird ties to each other. The director of tourism, lady with last name of Little, and the gentleman with last name of Crabtree that was out there. He's the raccoon sunglass-looking guy with the red shirt that was walking around, following him around. And there's ways people handle things and ways people not to handle things. And we can all look back and say, man, I'd have done things differently. Okay, great, whatever.
I was happy people weren't injured. I'm happy nobody went to jail, and that's really what it boils down to. Now, as far as the after action, there's going to be a mass audit there. Um, there's, there are going to be a bunch of auditors heading over there, and people coming from across the hill, from the Central Valley into there. And in truth be told, that regardless of feelings or whatever people have against each other outside of auditing, if person's in need, they're going. You know, they're going. They're going to take care. They're going to take care of business.
I'll tell you, if I can make it, I'll be there. Do you know any word on what's being put together yet, or?
Well, it's going to be happening within the next 7-10 days. We have something coming up this Sunday at a church in Los Angeles that has their PA system is incredibly loud. That a woman was out protesting the sound of the speakers playing the bells announcing services, and she went out to protest, and she was wound up being falsely arrested for interfering with a church service, and she can't go out there and protest without having any problems. So we're going to go out there and investigate the sound and document the interaction that she has between the parishioners while she's protesting, just to see what's up. And then likely the next weekend after that, we will definitely head up to, or next week after that, we'll definitely head up to Morro Bay and and check it out.
Well, that sounds really good.
To answer Mr. Super Dicky, I've showed up at mass audits before. I was at the mass audit at MDC. I was at, would have been at the mass audit. There'd have been a mass audit at the Torrance Post Office, but circumstances presented a different day. That's where the day we met Mark Bacon. So no, I show up at all kinds of things. I just don't show up on camera.
You don't know where he is, who he is, where he's going to be. He is anonymity at its best, I'll tell you guys. And I'm somebody that I can usually point people out pretty quick. No. If you don't know what he looks like, you'll never point him out. So I wouldn't even bother trying. It'd be a waste of time. So your comments real quick on, because we couldn't really understand you on the Cajun.
I hope I did, right?
What's that?
I did fix the audio on that, right?
Yes, you did. You did.
I had too many mics on. The laptop I just changed over to using has, I think, 3 microphones in the laptop itself, and then I have a headset on, so there's like 4 microphones. So it was like you were hearing me really, really well, or not.
Yeah, it was like overpowering everything.
Nice.
Yeah. It was so powerful, though, that it was scrambled and it sounded computery, so it wasn't really nice.
All right.
Your comments real quick on the Cajun events today.
That's likely to continue to happen. That's the hazards of going out by yourself. There are people that are willing to interact, or they just have to work according to their schedule. Letting people know, people knew what was up, and I was getting phone calls, from people all over the world again in one of those situations. Hey, you ever heard of the Cajun auditor fella? I was like, yeah. Oh, he needs your help, man. I was like, all right, let me get on the phone. By the time I got to the phone, he was within minutes he'd been released. They had taken him in. But we have a system, and it works, though it's not set in stone how things work, and maybe it's better that way, that people know who to call. And if you see something happen, you can always call me. The number's 888-571-5535. I pick up. I'm the guy that answers the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless I'm out in an area where there's no signal.
Wait a minute, you actually answer the phone? That's not you.
There's a guy named Felipe. It may be Felipe Hemming, I don't know.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. So anyway, guys, that's what I have. Do you have anything, Mr. Hemming, that you want to go over? I hand the floor to you, bud.
Let me see. If we have anything interesting. We do have a case that we were working on involving a homeless family, mother and son, that back in December 30th, the were parking in a Los Angeles neighborhood in South Central, and one of the neighborhood brujas, is the Mexican word for witch, decided that she was going to call in that this vehicle had stolen tags, and the one occupant is a 20-some-odd-year-old male, been diagnosed with mental retardation since he's 6 years old. He's also a paranoid schizophrenic that had just taken his Seroquel, which is a nightly management medication for a lot of people with these ongoing issues. And when these cops roll on up, LA Sheriff's Departments roll up, they wanted to talk to the guy in the passenger seat. Well, fuck, he's knocked the fuck out. He ain't waking up. Well, they didn't like that. So once you get somebody agitated on Seroquel, I mean, you got a monster on your hands. And so we have the video. I had to go scrape it again. I think I had to move it on my other laptop. But it's terrible, and they were going to try to charge him with battery on a law enforcement officer. I think 7 counts of that.
Oh my God.
But meanwhile, you can't do it because this great thing, it's a Latin term called mens rea, and you have to have the knowledge that you are breaking the law.
Right.
And a person who's not competent, we got called in on that one, and we helped the mom manage it with the LA District Attorney's Office. And and then we talked to the staff at the Twin Towers jail. They have a mental health ward there, and we made sure that this guy's taken care of. That's the kind of stuff we deal with in our criminal and civil rights practice. We handle cases that a lot of people wouldn't handle. People say no. Just picked up a case of a guy just back from serving at Fort Bragg in Fayetteville. Just moved back to California. Was in the state less than 60 days, and he had not yet registered his handgun. And as a result of that, he was pulled over for nonsense. The cop was running the tag, and it didn't come back to him. It came back to his wife. And one of these things, he's an LBG, little brown guy, and the guy in the car is a white guy. And next thing he knows, he tells him to roll down the window and say, "Hey, what's up with the car?" And he's a respectful guy, and he quickly found out that you shouldn't talk to cops, because next thing you know, they ask, "Well, are there any guns in the car?" "Well, yeah, I got my gun in the car. It's in his bag, in the case, locked, and unloaded." Next thing you know, he's being charged $35,000 bail, failure to possession of an unregistered firearm. But we'll be able to take care of that.
Why would anybody answer questions?
Well, he's a good little statist. That's what happens when you go in the military and you become indoctrinated. Nah, dude, I don't have the nightmares, man. I sleep quite well. I close my eyes. I know that I do the best I can do every single day. No, I don't have nightmares. Not at all.
No, but I mean, some of it, I'm sure, has got to weigh, at least, on your heart. Some of it that you come across, it's got to...
Well, I don't watch... I try not to watch the videos. I see especially with the severely violent cases, I had to stop myself from watching them because of my experience as a firefighter paramedic for over 25 years. I've seen the worst things that can be done to the human body. And then now working in this, I always say the worst things human beings can do under color of law and under the authority of the government. And and that's one of the biggest things that I had difficulty with once I left working for the government. Not that I didn't know there was already issues, and I was working on the inside to try to resolve them. But when I got out, the system's just an absolute complete failure. And many people don't even realize how big of a failure it is, how much nepotism exists within each and one of these agencies. This is like going down and becoming really a government investigator. And one time was a fire investigator. I investigated arsons, which is, there's a scientific process to that. So as you apply, the same scientific process to investigation with data, and you just take big groups of data and wean and strain it on down to find out what you're looking for. But in the case of the government corruption, they're required by law to document everything. And one of the biggest clues that something is wrong is when there's difficulty getting public records. And in this case here, in Morro Bay, you start looking at the situation with the chief of police. The chief of police just got hired June of last year. Before that, they had another chief of police, and you know that, but they had another chief of police. So you're wondering, what is this? This where old LAPD cops go to retire, and you can't do that. Morro Bay is an active fishing village. It's a tourist town, and you can't have some old codge that's I've done everything I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay low, and I'm gonna do nothing here in Morro Bay. Well, look what you got. You got people making shit up. Talking about there's a penal code or something. I'm not really quite sure it is, but I know it's fucking illegal to take a goddamn picture in that lobby. So spin around there, cutie. I'm gonna put these fucking handcuffs on you and take you to jail.
I think that's what it was too. I think that's what it was. He just wanted to cop a feel.
he threw Nate to the ground. It's like, hey.
Well, it is kind of cute. I'll be the first to admit, I'm a lesbian, but he is cute. So the cop really liked him. He was digging him. It was the right area.
He was sweating his tattoo. Hey, what's up with that?
Yeah.
That's Aching Elwood Blues.
Yeah.
What about that other guy? That's a Filipino actor. So, going along with the narrative that the sheriff, the chief of police tried to pass, I don't have it in front of me, but I can paraphrase it. We thought this guy was like a terrorist, so we went around the front, fucking confronted him, and said, hey, you scaredy guy in the black pants and the hat. It's kind of a cool hat. But with the tattoos, what are you doing? Nothing like that happened. Nothing like that happened at all. It was, hey, did you report a robbery? Nate's like, no, I didn't report a robbery. Oh, and then I go back and big old doofus comes back. Are you sure you didn't report a robbery or anything? I mean, this guy was out front reporting a robbery. No, man, I reported a robbery. And they're chit-chatting up. Hey, what's up with that tattoo? I love the Blues Brothers. Do-do-do-do-do. Back and forth, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes the chief. Poof! Oh, you see those teeth coming around the corner, and it's like, and my understanding, he was out and back in shorts, not shorts, pants, and a t-shirt, and he threw on his parka. He gets on his parka, and it says, I'm going to be unemployed. No, it says A. Griffith, whatever the fuck the guy's name is, soon to be unemployed asshole, is what it should say. That's likely what's going to happen to him. All of a sudden, he's not really engaged. He's just sitting there going, hey, there's a smile on his face. Then as soon as Nate said he wasn't going to ID, they were like, oh, fuck. And the next thing out of his mouth was, why do I want my lawyer? And he's like, boom. Bam, put him on. No, you get to talk to a lawyer now. You get to talk to your lawyer when you go to jail. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the case. If you ask for your lawyer, all questioning has to stop. They have to process it, but, they can't talk to you. And so, they still will. They still will. We have places where they continue to talk to people after they've said, I don't want to talk to my attorney, or they haven't been read their Miranda rights or anything like that, and they're going to continue with the questioning, even though they can say, no, hey, any point in time, you can leave.
When you invoke your right to an attorney, and they continue to ask you questions, who is the only person that can revoke that right to an attorney? Your attorney, right?
Nobody can. According to the Supreme Court, they can't make that contact again for another 14 days. At all. I don't want to answer questions without my attorney. Okay. Do you have one now? No, I don't have one. All right. That's the way it's supposed to be.
So what? Do they hold you until you get an attorney, or?
It's completely. What's that?
Do they hold you until you get an attorney, or?
Some departments' policy, the second you invoke the right to attorney, they place you in cuffs. They place you in cuffs. Immediately upon wanting to speak to an attorney. The policy is place them in cuffs. And, hey, whatever, you know.
Wow.
That's what it is. So unless you're being arrested, no, you got nothing to say. I mean, really and truly, honestly, the questions about Miranda rights. The different courts will say it's the job of the citizen to know their rights, and there's been things where claims have been made that Miranda wasn't read and confessions were given, and they have to work to get those confessions excluded. It's an uphill battle in a lot of cases, but the tide is changing, and it's not going to change fast, but it's going to change. We have changed the law here in California about dirty DAs. So if they withhold evidence, they face criminal prosecution. So things are changing, and then we're also telling other people, other places, about the power of citizens' arrest. They don't really understand that they have the power. The power that law enforcement have is the same power as yours. I was telling Patrick in Texas with that one incident in Southlake where the officer struck him. Go tell them that you're going to place him under arrest. Go tell them that. And they go, well, they're not going to take him in custody. Then if they don't take him in custody, tell them you're going to arrest them and charge them with obstruction of justice or abuse of power, which is Penal Code 3201, 3102, 3103, and it varies accordingly. There are, of that is the most severe. There is a felony, but in Texas under I think it's 14.01, the power of arrest is the power of arrest without a warrant by a peace officer or a citizen. So it tells them, and it has to be witnessed by the individual. That's not, dude, listen, I don't want to get an argument about what cops won't do when people in custody. I've taken people in custody, and they have to take them by law. They have to do that. They can't.
Right.
If they
exactly.
don't take them, you call the next cop.
Exactly.
I mean, cops do stupid shit all the time. I'm not going to say, they're not going to do that. They can't do that. Okay, this is true. We can all say they can't do it, but they obviously they can. They have to. The power of arrest is a power of system. That's where this whole concept of false arrest comes from. If you're going to understand, if you place someone under arrest and they leave or attempt to leave, depending on the state you live in, there's a magnitude of force that can be used. In South Carolina, it depends on the time of day. This is one of those things. After the sun goes down in South Carolina, you can use whatever force necessary to effect an arrest. Check it yourself.
Right. No, yeah, I know, yeah.
California, it's been confirmed that, that's with this case with this Ferguson guy here in Orange County. That's the cop who was just received a poor review by the LAPD's review board. It said, no, ding dong, that was unnecessary use of force when you pulled your pistol out of by your nuts and squeezed off the round as you're fucking with those kids. But the Castle doctrine was applied in his case by totally Tony piece of shit Rackauckus, the same guy that couldn't convict the killers of Kelly Thomas, and who was just a total bag, did not prosecute this Ferguson guy. So in that situation there, he said, no. The kid said, I'm going to shoot you, and that's not what the kid said. It said, I'm going to sue you, but under the felony that he communicated to do great bodily harm from this 12-year-old who obviously didn't have a firearm, saying that he was going to shoot him, he could use as much force necessary to effect the arrest, period. So the question here about deprivation of rights under color of law, the only one that I know is 18 U.S.C. 242, and you gotta look at the statutes. There is no power of citizens arrest under federal code that I know of or have ever seen. There was one point in time what was called the Private Attorney General's Doctrine, and that was where private citizens could act on behalf of the United States government in situations and do what you need to do. But it's not widely practiced, and I haven't seen it being applied in quite a long time. But, imagine that. Like I tell these guys that say, oh, I should call the cops. There's no need to rush and call the cops. The cops are going to do what? If
Nothing.
They don't witness the crime, they're just going to simply take a report. They're going to get referred to a detective, and a detective is going to review the report, talk to you, talk to witnesses, talk to victims, talk to the accused, maybe. But you can do the same thing. You can write your affidavit arrest. I, Joe Shit the Ragman, did witness John Shit the Ragman commit whatever. And if you happen to know the penal code and you know the elements of that penal code, just focus on the felonies. The same claim that takes these cops 5 days to become a police officer. I'm being facetious. It's only 2.5 days to be a police officer. I'm being more facetious. That's not true at all. The short period of time that these individuals are allowed to ride around and now throw you in a cage with no real reference to the law, they can do that to you. But so if you know those elements of it, just don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. But if you threaten a cop with arrest and you tell his buddy, say, hey, arrest this motherfucker, put handcuffs on, they're going to have some interesting situation. I want to see it more often. I've actually seen video of people threatening law enforcement officers and their eyes get all cookie-eyed. This guy's
I see it myself in just the small ways that I do it. Like when I got rid of that one cop for following me from the CIA triple audit that I did, it was, hey, basically, I'll file a complaint. Stop following me, period. And she did.
In that situation there, it's not a felony in Texas for a cop to do that, but it is misuse of public funds. He's not doing a legitimate law enforcement purpose. Imagine that if we started picking that shit out of Pepper, trying to find charges like they would do to us, it's a different story.
Right, exactly.
But with them, we do nitpick. I don't call it nitpicking. That's why we take so long to digest these cases so we can come back and look at all the angles. It's because you have to. We don't want to be in a situation where we missed a claim or we missed a defendant or missed a responsible party, because I don't want anybody having a feeling where they're getting away with something. Hold on a second.
So, so basically, guys, what Mr. Hemming is saying is the same thing that I've been saying. Is if you know your rights and you know that they're violating your rights and you can articulate that law, that's how you should handle it. Hey, okay, so you're gonna charge me with trespassing. Well then, okay, I'm gonna get you for intimidation under the color of law, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see who has the rights in the end. I know my constitutional rights. I know, the case law behind this. So, you can play games all you want, but you're gonna lose in the end. And, stick to your guns. The more you believe it and the more that you enforce it, the more they're going to back down. And I've showed you guys this time and time again on my audits. And don't be a total jerk. When you're talking to them, talk to them like you're talking to a jury, because basically anything you say can and will be used against you anyway. So just talk to them like you're talking to a jury, and and it's not bad to to clown them a little bit. If these guys are acting like clowns, tell them, hey man, you're missing your floppy shoes, your big nose, and your curly wig, man. You want me to get you some makeup? What's the deal here? You're a clown. And that's okay. You can explain humor. Humor's fine. But getting really angry and stuff like that, like I've done in the past, and I'm learning myself, and I've had some really good mentorship. Thank you, Mr. Hemming. So now I got to evolve a little bit. And I hope that you guys will too. And I hope that you'll take all of this advice that Mr. Hemming is taking his time out and coming here, and you got to understand, this guy is like really, really experienced. You guys say I know my stuff. I know nothing, absolutely zero zilch next to this man. Nothing.
That's a little overrated. Hey, I gotta jump onto something real quick. It's been great talking to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Hemming.
You have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Well, guys, Mr. Hemming is a busy man, so I thank him for being on here tonight. He definitely helps out. it's really great to have somebody, such a resource like that. But I want to go a little bit deeper into what he was saying, because he's actually talked to me about this, and I feel like I can kind of take over a little bit, like I was. Basically, guys, when you go... Where's Waldo? Did I check out your post office? No, Waldo, I have been really, really... Oh, see you later, Huckleberry. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Anyway, so what he was pretty much saying is, and the reason why, people like the Batusai and others are so successful is because they do take that and exactly. Plan before you audit. Know what your rules, boundaries, and limitations are. Know what public area is. Knowledge is your power, guys. You have the power over these police officers, believe it or not. But it comes with knowledge, and it's not knowledge that you can just sit here and say, well, I'm going to memorize that Maddie from Constitutional Corner says 42 USC section 1983. Well, if I memorize that and I say that, then they'll believe that I know what I'm talking about. And that's not how it works. You really got to kind of know that, it starts out at the 14th Amendment after your rights are violated. Article 5, due process, the 1983, what is its functions? Look into it, read it, understand it, read the 1985 paragraph 3, read 1981, read all of these rules, boundaries, and limitations to these public officials, and know what their rules, boundaries, and limitations are. And when you do that, guys, and you get that knowledge, and you are more comfortable with the material that you're presenting and you're using, you're going to notice that you're going to calm down a lot, because your confidence and your knowledge is going to reinforce and make it so that the event that you're doing is not so scary. And you're not so intimidated, because when you go in there, you've already got a plan. Well, they can't accuse me of trespassing. This is public property. If they do, then, I'll threaten them with, you're trying to intimidate me from a constitutionally protected activity. And that's where you guys start seeing me. As soon as they come up to me, I'm already on the defensive. Hey, what's going on? Oh, well, what are you here to cheat me out of my rights? What are you here to intimidate me from my rights? Why are you here? I don't understand. I'm a journalist. I'm here for a story. Why are you here? And you'll find that if you can harness all of that that adrenaline that you're going to get when a police officer interacts with you, and don't get it twisted, they're just as amped up as you are. They've got adrenaline. They're interacting with the public. They kind of have to be careful. They have a lot of rules, boundaries, and limitations, and they know it. But they present this other facade and blah blah blah. So they've got a lot going on too. So when you're talking to them, you got to make them think that what they're doing is highly illegal. Okay. And that's the point of view that I take. When I go into these things, why are you interacting with me? You have really no business here. That's when that guy asked me last night, do you know why I'm here? No, why are you here? I don't know why you're here. I don't get it. I'm out here. This is lawful. I'm not murdering anybody. I'm not driving a Mustang up and down the road at 200 miles an hour. I'm not doing wheelies on motorcycles. Why are you here? I don't get it. And that's the point that you need to, when they say, oh, well, you know why we came out to talk to you, right? No, well, yeah, I know why you came out to talk to me. You came out to talk to me because you're trying to generate revenue for your police, for your city or your town or your county. That's what you're out here for. You're out here to generate money. That's exactly what you're out here for. I know what you're out here for. But you're not going to find it here because just by you being here, you're practically violating my rights, which they're not. But that's the point of view that I take. And that's the stance that I take. And I don't budge. They are concerned, suspicious, not normal activity. Not normal activity. What does that mean? I don't understand. So constitutionally protected activity is not normal, and this has been addressed in many, many court of appeals, federal court of appeals. I think you're wrong. I think that you're trying to twist things around, and I think that you're trying to intimidate me and make me feel like what I'm doing is unlawful, but unfortunately for you, it's not. And that's how I would respond to that. So, you know, that's not a bad idea, Dave, just Dave. Why don't you guys on the tomorrow night's broadcast, if you guys want to participate in this, let's have everybody from their states or their countries, if you're in another country, pull up harassment. Pull up the dictionary or the state statute or your local statute for harassment. We'll start there. I usually clown them, Steve M. My very first civil rights investigation was a follow-up for Honor Your Oath, and it was for the guy that called him a whack activist. And when I went out there just for the sole purpose of observing what was going on from the road. He came out and said, well, blah, 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 and I couldn't understand him with the road noise. So I told him, listen, I don't know what you're saying. I can't understand you, and I really don't care anyway. And I just kept doing what I was doing. I don't let civilian or anybody bother me, really. I'll put you on blast if you show up on my scene, and, I'll make you look as stupid as possible if you're going to show up and act like, that idiot with the red car that showed up to my scene that time. And by the way, guys, I know who was in the back seat, but I'm not going to give him any play because I don't like him. Anyway, I just that's what I think we should do. Is we'll start off with your local state statute or your province or whatever you are in your. Silent Citizen, how you doing, buddy? It's so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. It's sad to say, but it seems like the only time they start to learn is after they violate your rights and then you put suits against them. It seems to be the only way to change their policies and procedures. You're absolutely right, Silent Citizen. I absolutely agree with you. Dave, I forget who said it. Maybe Nasty Nate, but with non-Leos, we should be trying to win their hearts and minds. Absolutely, you're right. It depends on how they come at you, though, because there's some of them that just won't talk to you. I've in the last couple of years, I've come across a couple of them that were just really belligerent, and you guys see it too. They just get really, and Silent Citizen, I know you've come across your share. But it is true that we should be winning hearts and minds. So when you come across, some of these citizens and stuff, try and promote the cause. As far as that car goes, there was some people in there that I knew who they were, and they were just there to video bomb because they don't have their own viewers. Anyway, So basically what I do is I turn it around on them, and that's what you heard Mr. Hemming himself say. Hey, if they say this, then well, okay, this, then and study, know what you're talking about, be able to articulate it back and forth. Look up. Actually, you know what? Read the 14th Amendment and read the Due Process Clause. I think you guys will find that really interesting. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm actually getting really tired, and I have not felt good for like 3 days. I've had a stomach ache for like 3 days. Anyway, I don't know if you're on here and watching or not, but Charlotte from California, I got your mail today. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Thank you for all of your support, guys. You are the best in the world. Anyway, stay free, stay safe, and always exercise your rights. My name is Maddie with Constitutional Corner, and I bid you all good night.